For this quest, you're going to participate in a brief activity. So first, make sure you have a piece of paper. Actually, you'll need either two pieces of paper or just one piece of paper that you can write on the front and the back, and then something to write with. Pen, pencil, marker, doesn't really matter. So first, I want you to set down your writing utensil and just listen to the list of words that I'm about to say. The words are in no particular order and they're somewhat random, so just take a moment and listen. Ready? Okay, here we go. Pink, horse, arm, spoon, rooster, face, green, cat, paper, thumbtack, bed, handshake, mouse, cup, t-shirt, leg, test, paperclip, phone book, keyboard, desk, bookshelf, DVD, pen. Now, I want you to pick up your writing utensil and write down as many of those words as you can remember. Feel free to hit pause on the video at this point so you can take as long as you want to write down the words, and when you're done, just go ahead and hit play again. Now, I want you to either flip your piece of paper over or grab your second sheet of paper. And I want you to look at the list below. On this list, you'll see the words that I read out loud a moment ago, but then there are additional words added into the list. Sift through the list and write down the words that you recognize from me reading them out loud just a moment ago. Again, hit pause on the video to give yourself as much time as you need, and when you've looked thoroughly through the list and written everything down that you remember, go ahead and hit play and it'll take you to the final part of the activity. Okay, so now you should have two lists. Your first one is a list of all the words you remembered immediately after you heard me read them out loud. And your second list was after you had a chance to look at some options and write down the words that you thought you recognized. Now, the list that's currently on the screen is the list of words that I actually read out loud a moment ago. I want you to compare this to your answers on both your first list and your second one and kind of grade yourself. Take a look and see how many you remembered and got correct. Don't give yourself credit for anything you wrote down if it wasn't actually a word on this list. And you can hit pause again on the video to give yourself as much time as you need to grade both of your lists. Hopefully now you've had a chance to grade both of your lists, and hopefully you see that there's a difference between how much you remembered accurately. For most people, the first list, where they just heard the words and then were asked to write down as many as they could remember, usually students or any individuals who do this activity don't remember quite that many words. On the second list, where individuals are given a sheet to look at and options to consider and see what they recognize, usually individuals get a higher score. They remember more words and they write down more accurate words on that list. So this highlights the difference between recall and recognition memory. Recall memory is when you are asked to pull out information from your brain just from scratch without any sort of hint or prompt or anything to look at that might guide you. You're just expected to remember something from scratch. Recognition memory, on the other hand, is where you're given information to look at or listen to, and you're asked to see if you recognize that information. So you still have to know the information to some extent, but you're given a lot of hints by having some sort of cues. Now, this is related to college and academic success in college because a lot of college students will study and study and study, but they are studying for recognition memory. So they will go over notes, they'll go over readings, maybe information from handouts that a professor gave them. And once they get to the point where that information feels very familiar and they recognize it and can say, yes, I can identify this information when I see it, they feel like they're ready for the test. But the challenge comes when they walk into a test and they are presented with a situation that requires recall memory, meaning there is no prompt, there's no list of words to look at and see what you recognize. There's just blank spaces that the student is expected to fill in by thinking back on the information and grabbing it out of their brain from scratch without any cues. So, as you prepare for your tests and quizzes, I encourage you not just to review notes, but to devise a way to test your recall memory, to actually come up with a practice test or some other way where you can see if you can pull the information out of your brain without any hints or cues. And if you can do that, then that means that you are in fact ready for your test.